What's up everyone, Blade here, and welcome back to another video of Persona 5X. Inside today's video, guys, we're going to be talking about the girl Haru and exactly her substitutes when it does come down to her teams. If you guys are interested in this, be sure to sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. And as always, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It really does help me out. And in the comment section, you should tell me if you guys are getting some of these notifications. I know we've actually been going back up ever since we started doing a little bit more Persona. So maybe it was just our algo deciding to be a butt cheek, but hey, just let me know down below. Now we're gonna get straight into the video. As always, a lot of us already know we're all waiting on Haru here, and she is the pretty much queen bee for a lot of people, especially for the AoE side of things. I'm currently on my TW account, so of course I will be able to show exactly how this character does work, or at least show off a little bit of her gameplay. But before we show any gameplay, we have to look at this character and think, what characters are really going to be good alongside of her? I've gotten this question quite a lot, and a lot of people really just want to see some substitutes, so that's what we're going to be going over today. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Starting off with her best in slot healer, this is going to be Seaside Tomoko. She recently released on the global side of things here, and the reason that she's so good for her is not only because of the follow-up attack that also heals, but is the application that she can end up doing ailment accuracy. Now this is very good for Haru, seeing that she does scale off of ailment accuracy a lot here. The good part about at least Seaside Tomoko is she's also able to defense reduce and increase your damage taken while also providing you a lovely attack percent that's going to help on your whole kit. Going ahead and taking a look at her kit here, we're just going to have this as an image first. You guys already know first skill, second skill, third skill in highlight, but don't worry, we have a way of checking this out, and that's going to be Lufel.net. So if you guys have not used Lufel.net, be sure to go ahead and do it. So far, this is what we're going to be using for the video, and as always, they are coming in clutch. So you guys can see on my screen the first skill, which is have a cold drink. It is able to deal side damage to foes equal to 77.6% of attack, which is a form of 4 different hits. The reason why this is really so good is not only we're getting the sparks, which can lead up to her follow-up attack, allowing you to get some heals off, but this is also increasing skill damage multiplier. Although this is a good skill, this isn't really the one that you're going to be using for her kit. It's usually just going to be her skill 2 and skill 3. Now for the skill 2 and skill 3, which is the meat and potatoes of Seaside Tomoko here, we have Hell Summer Days. Hell Summer Days itself does a single target heal, but this also increases your attack percent and your ailment accuracy. The ailment accuracy itself is mainly going to help you out with proccing a lot more of Haru's actual procs that she does need, while also increasing her attack percent. Seeing that Haru does scale off of not only just attack but ailment accuracy itself, she gets way more damage the more ailment accuracy she ends up having. So Seaside Tomoko allows her to go ahead and do this pretty easily and continue on with dealing a ton of skill damage throughout the fight. As for the skill 3, as long as she is also having that on deck here, she's able to deal more damage to all the foes in front of her for 2 whole rounds, while increasing damage taken by 19.5% and of course giving you another stack. Meaning no matter what you're going to do here, you're always going to get these stacks to do that follow-up attack, get some more heals, increase your EHR and your overall damage. This character is going to be your main best in slot here, and I don't think I really have to talk too much about her, seeing that we all do know how she works. But the big question about this is, who can she be replaced with? For our healer side of things here, she actually does have a couple replacements that can be kind of usable. One of the first replacements that you guys are probably going to use is going to be Marian. Marian herself is a very good character here because she's able to do something a little similar, just without the EHR side of things. Her herself is also giving you a pin related buff here. She has debuff removal, is able to easily make it so you have damage bonus as well, getting more of that damage that you really do need here. And I think it's just a really good character to just try and easily build. You really only need HP on her as well for her card set, so she is very, very easy to kind of get under your grasp when it does come down to things here. But the question is, how does she truly work? Well, as per usual, skill 1, skill 2, skill 3, and highlights, but we got to see exactly what they do. So for the first thing that you really want to know about this is her skill 3 is going to be where she gets everything here, which is Compassion Cure. This one isn't allowing her to go ahead and use all her stacks that she does have, and it restores her HP, or the allies HP in general, equal to 15.8% of Minami's max HP. Now this is an AoE type of heal itself anyways, so everyone is getting this, but is also allowing you to increase your max HP, meaning that your team could actually live a lot longer instead of being very, very squishy. automatically making this a good thing. But where this comes in handy is due to her passive. Whenever she does heal, you are getting a allied damage bonus here, which is by 15% itself, and it can go up to a total of 30%. Stumbled for a quick second. The other thing that really makes this insanely good is she beefs you up even more with her second passive, which is Peace of Mind, and you guys can see it just increases your party's max HP. So if you were ever worried about just living with Haru, this is automatically going to help you, because alongside with this, her skill 2 itself is also granting you more of the said HP. It's based on her HP max, which is really going to help you out, as well as carrying your debuffs. So this team is more than likely you're getting just the basic amount of max HP, get some basic amount of damage bonus, which really can come in handy. Now, if you're one of the lucky people who ended up going for her A1, this is where you're usually getting that extra pierce amount, which will help out Haru quite a lot. Angel in White not only allows her to just get some nice max HP in general, but whenever she does heal people with overflowed amount of max HP, it will increase their pierce by 20% for 2 whole turns. This is actually a really good buff because you do need to use Haru's skill 1 and skill 3, and by the time you heal again easily, since that Marian's going to be going first anyways, you're gonna have that pierce buff on you once again, allowing you to use her gun, dealing the most damage possible. I think it's a really good character to have as a good substitute, but there is always one more character that you guys can always go ahead and use, and it's kind of the last of the last. That's gonna be my boy Lufel. Now, I almost said Lufel. Gosh, Lufel in my head right now, but oh gosh, Lufel is one of the few characters that is truly insane. He's actually a good little 4-star character that you can really use, and yes, I know there's people out there who want to use Morgana. This isn't anything against Morgana himself. The only reason why we're using this guy is just for the bare minimum. We're able to get the heals off with, of course, the skill 2 and skill 3, but where everything does come together is just getting the overall attack percentage. You're going to see this inside of let's call it Lufel.net here, where easily you can see not only are we getting some increased healing effect, but we're also able to just get up some attack percentage whenever we are healing here. This is always a good thing because you're getting an attack percentage buff from his highlight. You can easily get attack percentage buff just from general in his actual hit, which is always great to have. And then on the off chance that you want to deal some damage, you can deal some damage. Most of us also should have him around like A6 or at least A4 and higher. So without a doubt, you're already going to be getting your attack percent even higher just based on his stats, which is always going to be a good deal. So for your healers, those are all the ones that you could possibly substitute besides the best in slot. But now we have to go over her buffers and debuffers. Now I'm going to put both of these together mainly because there's so little that you really could use for her, and that's pretty much where we're just going to go ahead and stay on this one. So when it does come down to her buffers and debuffers, this is where things can get a little bit complicated, but for you guys, it's going to be pretty easy. Buffer wise, you're only going to be using like one character who truly is good at buffs, and that's just going to be Chord. Chord is just the mother of all buffs when it does come down to what at least our Haru does need, and that's kind of just spamming her highlights, getting some extra crit rate, because I know a lot of us ended up investing into the A1 while also getting some damage bonus and attack things. Good part about this character as well, depending on who is the lowest on the team, she also does a small amount of healing, so it's always nice to go ahead and have her in the back line. There's plenty of ways to using this character, but many of us already knows how she does at least cooperate, but as always, we got to read here. We have, of course, the skill 1, skill 2, is skill 3, and the highlight, but the main thing that we're really looking for on this entire set effect right now is going to be the skill 2, skill 3. Lucky for us on global, you ended up getting a buff where her skill 1 is now officially very helpful here, seeing that it does cast a shock, meaning we have a higher chance to easily crit whenever that shock status is on there. But as per usual, we're usually going to be using this character, making sure she has the buff up. If you're A0, you're usually going to start off with the skill 2, lead it into the skill 1, and then go to skill 3, because this allows you not only to get the buff, but also apply a shock and then immediately be ready to spam the highlight. As long as you're doing that, you're going to deal some crazy good damage with this character, making the most use out of her. Now, if you're A1, you can see it kind of above here where my cursor kind of is here. At the top, you can immediately see you're going to start off with skill 1, pop it off again as usual, and then go ahead and pop off the skill 3. Now, usually if I do have my A1, it's pretty much the only thing you can do because you don't really want to refresh your buff too early, or else it's going to overlap and mess you up quite often. So using the double skill 1 not only is going to help you inflict this said shock, get you some extra damage, and at least prepare you for your actual rotation that you're going to need. This character is going to be her best in slot when it does come down to her supports, so surely do have her really well built. But there are a few other suggestions when it does come down to some supports. So first things first, supports area. You guys aren't going to believe it, but regular Tomoko is actually insanely good for this. On the off chance that we're not using Leon, which I'm not going to reference them too much inside of this video, mainly because we all know what he's good at, crit damage, and that's always going to help any type of DPS. But just for this one, Tomoko is actually way better than you think for this whole character. Reason why she's so good is because not only is she able to just give you a decent buff, but herself, whenever she does deal her buff, which is going to be on her skill 2, it does increase your elemental accuracy or element accuracy, which is always great. The only other good thing that she does have in her kit is she can help out with her attack buffs and your damage taken, but usually you're just going to get the most out of her with just her element accuracy. So if you go ahead and take a look at my screen here, you can see on the skill 2 cheering you on here, which is the main one that you're going to use. It increases not only your attack percentage, but it also increases your element accuracy by 15% for 2 whole turns. This gives you enough time to go ahead and use your 1-3 skill, go ahead and get her buff back on, meaning for when it's the gun time with our Haru, we're able to easily take down what we need to take down. So I think this is a really good move to go ahead and use, and the best way to really just make advantage or take advantage over using this character. The only other good thing about this character is mainly because of the actual passive 1. After she does use a skill on the ally, it does increase your target's damage by 6% for 2 whole turns. It's not too much, but it still is pretty darn nice. And if you're actually one of the other people who've been playing this game quite often, getting her any of her dupes is pretty easy. So I mean, like, you always will have a good suggestion for a 4-star that will be very useful. But other than that, that is all the buffers that is really good for her. Let's take a look at some of the debuffers that are going to make this insanely better for a lot of you guys who decide to go ahead and use them. Now, she is an AoE debuffer. There are a couple debuffers that are going to be coming out in the future, but the only ones that we do have currently is going to be Ki, Bino, and obviously Rin. Now, all 3 of these characters are kind of mid at best, especially when it does come down to debuffing. Hence the reason why debuffers aren't really too necessary for her team, but on the off chance that you want to use one, Rin is probably going to be your best thing to go with. Reason being is because Ki's debuff are just not good enough here. They barely scratch the surface. Bino is meant for a single target team here, so it's just not going to be worth using. While Rin herself, although she is the bottom of the barrel of this team, she still gets the job done. As per usual with her skill 1, skill 3, and her skill 1, skill 2, skill 3, and her highlight, you're usually going to be doing the same thing. She does help out with the defense reduction, which is always great, but in all honesty, we're just going to be using her just for that, and then easily her skill 3. The only 2 things that we need on this team, or at least from this character, skill 1 decreases the defense, which is always great. Skill 3 allows us to go ahead and make sure we're getting that increased damage taken, which is quite easy to get. That's all you're really going to use her for. You could use the skill 2 as well, because it does increase the damage overall if they do have a debuff, but I'm being real with you guys, it's just not worth it. This character here is only if you have absolutely nothing, like no other supports that you want to use, and you truly want to use a debuffer. That's the only time you're going to be using this character. Other than that, she's kind of not the best to use, so I mean, like, you could very well go ahead and use her, but it might not be in your best interest. But now we went over all of this here, I already know some of you guys just want to see some of the gameplay with this character, so I'm just going to show her off just a little bit at the end of the video, but I'll see you guys in a second. Unfortunately, all the guild bosses are very much so single target, so these little dudes are probably gonna have to die here. But the best way to kind of showcase this off, or at least show off a couple more moves, is just not to deal damage with anyone else and just let Haru have a little bit of fun. So I'm just gonna do my normal just buffing here, have a little bit of good little fun with this, and just do whatever she wants. Now Haru does have an initial attack, since I may or may not have this woman doing actually crazy damage with her A1, and I actually usually use my first skill, just so you know. I've been using the free-to-play one too much, but if we go ahead and just buffer on up and get some things on over here, I could easily just murk these dudes with this, but I'm going to hold off on doing so just to be able to show some of her moves off, even though she's probably going to kill here as well. We'll see. We have kind of her first skill, which is going to look something like this. That first skill does a ton of freaking damage, one. And then when we get to like her second skill, which you're not really going to be using, you're usually just going to use her first skill. So it's usually first skill and then you use the third skill. Third skill is going to look something like this. But of course, we're going to go ahead and redo this. And I'll show you guys what a fully charged skill from Haru really can look like. But just off of that basic mount, you can see the damage that we're getting. But let's go ahead and reset this on up and I'll show you guys at least what the third skill does look like, probably in the guild battle. All right, so getting her with her 3 bullets, we can finally kind of show off exactly what her other skill can look like or do. Now, there's no point in me doing anything too crazy with this here. Obviously, you guys are going to know exactly how this works here. And let's just go ahead and use the highlight just to show you guys a little bit of how that looks. Pretty interesting. And of course, that's on a single target. So, hey, pretty decent right now. And let's just do Yanos's regular buff here. Terakaja. And then go ahead and get this all prepared for her just to deal a little bit of damage. Now, usually when you get your bullets down there, you're going to see your little icon turn into a gun bullet like that. And by doing so, he does this animation and does some crazy damage. So 290k, and that was just on one enemy, and this character gets more busted than that. Hopefully you guys found this video very interesting and enjoyed a little bit of gameplay from this character. But without further ado, thank you for watching. Peace out.